Mature. 7 letters that changed my life. If I were to ask you how many N's are there in Millennium, or how many S and T are there in Massachusetts, you'd think twice before answering, wouldn't you? But I was the kind of kid who knew exactly that Millennium has 2 N's and Massachusetts has 2 S and 2 T's. I knew all the spellings. I knew the answers to all the questions. I was the one who was going to be a doctor when I grew up. Today I'm a teacher. A 10-year-old me would have committed suicide just knowing that, oh, teacher. I was a class topper. I have report cards that have 100% marks in them. They were nursery and LKG, but they count. But getting a spelling wrong in the spelling competition, in a tiebreaker, meant a huge blow to my pride. I remember that moment on stage. I had never failed in a competition before. It felt like failing final exams. It felt like burying myself inside a hole, not seeing anybody, like it didn't happen. It felt like that house mistress glaring at me from the audience would suck the life out of me. And she did. She found every opportunity in class to mock me. Class, what is the meaning of amateur? It was the over-mature Miss Ayushi Kedia on stage yesterday, and the whole class would laugh. In the middle of the chapter, she would ask me some random question, which I dared not answer. I remember her eyes, which I dared not answer. And she would be like, oh, I thought you were mature enough to know that, Ayushi. What a shame, you're still an amateur. Public humiliations and sarcastic jokes that followed for a week destroyed my confidence and morale forever. This kid, who used to be super enthusiastic about participating in competitions, now dodged the idea of attending annual prize distribution ceremonies because that would require me coming on stage. This kid whose eyes shone with confidence, and who knows, people would laugh at me. Who knows if I went wrong, what would happen to me? It changed me. Astrologers started coming home. This puja, so much chanda, that mantra, all of that started consuming the time for my folks at home. And when nothing worked, you see, it's the Shani Dev. He's cursed her. For 7 years, she's doomed. That was their predicament. In grade 11, I changed school. Not expecting much out of it either, I went there with much reluctance. After a few days of school, impressed by my English, this teacher forced me into hosting the school annual event. I was nervous. I was unsure. Looking back, I was probably more nervous than my husband on our marriage day. And I went on stage. I did the welcome speech, competition brief, welcomed the teammates, everything, the format. And exactly in this robotic fashion, just like this. Just then I see my teacher rushing towards the stage. She summoned me to the side and she goes, Ayushi, 2 things. You forgot to welcome the chief guest. Christ, for Christ's sake, 1 chance I got and I messed it up again. I panicked. There was no turning point left for me in life now. This was the end. This was absolutely the end. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. I froze just like that grade 3 competition. I was cold. My hands, feet stopped moving, and I'm like, I'm sorry. And my teacher's like, "Are you all right?" She held my hand and she's like, "Ayushi, things like this happen all the time. Just go back on stage, apologize, and welcome the guests now." And I'm just like, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry, ma'am, I'm so sorry." I turned back, I started walking to the stage, and she's like, "Ayushi!" I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm sorry." I said, "I'm sorry." And she's like, "I said two things. One, you forgot to welcome the chief guests. Two, which is more important, you're looking ugly." And I'm like, "What?" "I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't get you." "Ayushi Kedia, you look ugly without a smile. Go up there, apologize for what you did, welcome the chief guests, but when you do that with a smile." I looked at her face, and all of that, the gravity of that situation just felt like I just walked onto the stage like this. I apologized, I welcomed, and I had this perpetual smile on my face because of what she'd done to me. Such is the impact of small incidents on a child's life. My husband has a beautiful way of explaining this. He says, just like when an arrow is shot in the air, even a small touch can change its direction completely. Similar is a child's life. Small episodes have the power to change the course of their lives dramatically. I wonder what would have happened of me had that teacher not embarrassed me publicly then. I wonder what would have happened to me had that teacher not encouraged me. I would surely not be here. I would still be in the dark, waiting to be found, waiting for somebody to break me free. But more importantly, I wonder what had happened to me had that teacher not embarrassed me. I would not have known failure. I would not have known what empathy is. All of my childhood today is a gift. It's a gift of knowing, of being there, done that. Today I can read the stories of the students that come to my institute. I can read their stories in the eyes. I can relate to them. And I can make a difference. I realize that all of it is for a wane. Our schooling system, why is it that teachers only pay attention to these handful few in the class, while all of the others, like us, are ghost students? Why is it that it is always science, commerce, and then arts? Why don't we force kids to paint every day, play instruments every day, make them dance every day? I'm thankful my parents weren't like that. My dad till date asks my brother, "How was your exam, beta?" "Good, Dad." "Pass ho jayega na?" "Yes, Dad." It's another thing that all of his 3 kids are scholars and we've always scored 90%. But nevertheless, why is there so much pressure? Why? I'm thankful that those days inspired me to find my passion, to help kids, to help these people. My teacher was an inspiration. I'm glad that I have this opportunity to touch the life of these tiny little humans. And I really believe that all of us here have the power to touch everyone's life around them on an everyday basis. I'm a big believer in the power of little actions. All we need to do is look in the eye. Most of us have the stories written in our eyes. Most of the days just need a few words of belief. But believe earnestly and believe honestly. Because change won't happen in a day. It won't happen in a year. But when it does, you will be the one who initiated it. My teacher in 11th grade, she does not know till date what change she brought to me. She'll never know, probably. But I do. I have this kid since the early days of Grooming Tales with me. He has this little thing of stammering. But despite this, he always has a very unique take on topics that I give. And even though he can never finish his speech in the given time frame, I would always make sure to listen to him after the class, his ideas. Now, this little gesture of mine apparently encouraged him so much that week after week, I started seeing phenomenal difference in him. So much that it was unreal even for me as a mentor. On the day of the competition, of that level finale competition, the event went by as conventionally as it would. We handed out the prizes to the first child, second place, third place, highlighting the exceptional skills children. But that day, something got on to me. And I announced a special prize winner. A special prize for this boy, Nishit, whose journey was extraordinary. Because that day, not only did he complete his speech in time, but he performed like a thunderbolt. He took the audience, everybody appreciated and acknowledged that award. I remember his mother sitting in the audience. She was overwhelmed. Tears of joy filled her. And that episode changed this kid's life so much that today he has his own page, Public Speaking for Kids. And he has 5,000 followers. That's more than my page, Grooming Tales. And he's only 8 years old. That's the power of little actions. Sometimes we do it without a knowledge, sometimes. But that episode again taught me something. That you just have to notice, you just have to acknowledge. Many of us have always gone unnoticed in life. A decade of my life I spent as a ghost kid, camouflaged myself in the others. Nobody knew me, nobody saw me. And time went by. It was just this one person who broke me free from that Shani Dasha. All of us can do that. Look back at your lives, reflect. You've all been formed how you are today by those little gestures. I wouldn't have been here had it not been for my mom and dad, who initiated, who pushed me into doing things when I couldn't back then for myself. I wouldn't have been here had it not been for my 11th grade teacher. I would definitely not be here had it not been for my husband and for in-laws who have showed absolute faith in my work today. And I would definitely not be here had it not been for my partner who's brought our institution where it is today. Little actions from all of these people has made me, and I'm sure little actions from a lot of people in your lives have made you what you are. But when you think about that, please do think of how many lives have you touched. Thank you so much.